Hey guys, well, welcome to the stocking tutorial. Stockings, it's one of the questions that I get probably most often is how do I do these types of stockings? A lot of people seem to think that there's a whole lot of magical, mystical voodoo that goes on with this. It's really not. With some basic airbrush control, you can make this happen. Usually I paint these pieces separately and then assemble them later. It makes it a lot easier to work with. That being said, if you want a result that looks something more or less like this, I can show that to you. Now this technique will work on full stockings such as you see there, or even partial stockings, or pretty much anything. It also works with virtually any color, blacks, reds, whites, blues. In the case of the one that we're going to be doing today, I have a special request for purple, so we're going to go with purple. To break this down into its easiest constituent elements, try looking at your pieces and break them down into three basic parts. These are going to be your edges, your hills, and your valleys. You can really do your edges or your valleys either one first or second, but you're always going to want to do your hills last. And that will kind of explain itself as we go here. The first thing you want to do is find your edges. So in this case, like on this nurse right here, it would be around the bottom of the shoe here, around the edge where it meets the flesh, up here at the top, and those are going to be your edges. Your valleys are going to be like these little dimples on the back sides of the knees, a little bit underneath each knee, and sometimes around the ankles or any other such place that you happen to see a little dimple or a valley exist. And then your hills, of course, is all the big rounded areas where you see all of the light shading. In the case of a partial, like this, your edges, of course, would be around the top of the boot right here. And then there was another one up here around the underwear line, but of course, it's a completed model now, and so you can't see any of the work I did there. In the case of the one we're about to be working on, hopefully you guys can see this in the video, it has some stocking lines molded in the tops of the thighs right here. So what we're going to want to do is go around the tops of the thighs, and that mold line right there, and then also, of course, right down here around the very bottom edges where the boot is going to end up attaching right there. So you're going to want to set your airbrush down, basically trace these patterns all the way around, top and bottom, and then move on to your little valleys. Like in this case, when I turn it, you can kind of see where the shadows lay, just on the dimples on the sides of the knees. And then, of course, there's little other dimples on the back sides of the knees that you'll have to get. Once you have all of those in place, basically you open your airbrush up a little bit, pull your airbrush back. I know you guys are used to working really close to the models, but in this case I want you to pull away from the model. And then just basically mist the hell out of it. And just keep rotating it and misting it lightly and letting it land where it may. Now, of course, you can get really, really light sheer stockings, like you see this right here. If you go a little heavier, of course, you can make them deeper and richer and more semi-sheer. And if you keep going beyond that, you can even make them practically solid if you like. And that's pretty much all there is to it. There's no real secret magic or super tricks to learn on this one. So I'm going to go ahead and go downstairs and get set up and mask this off, and we'll show you the magic.